All right, working on my buddy's Jeep today. He has a brake light coming on the dash, in the instrument cluster, little red brake light. And thinking the fluid's probably dirty in the master cylinder and possibly be low, and we'll check it out. And we might be doing a brake flush, fluid exchange, get that old fluid out to see if that helps with the master cylinder switch. There's a brake switch in the master cylinder that detects when the fluid's low, and if it's dirty too, it can also make that light come on. So we're gonna get this thing inspected real quick and see what we're working with. Look at the switch, make sure there's nothing just goofy going on with that. This is it's going to indicate your level being low, and it's usually the case with these things. When the brakes start wearing down, the level gets low, and I would say it's low just by looking at looking down in there. I don't know if you can tell, but it goes down pretty good ways before I can touch anything. It's not super dirty, but it is low. So what we'll do is I'm gonna try to take a peek at the brake pads, make sure we don't have any worn out brake pads first. If we do, we need to address that. We'll go ahead and suck out the fluid that's in the master cylinder reservoir. Then we'll top it off with new. That way we don't have to push that fluid through the system down to the calipers to flush this fluid out and to bleed the system. You know, you want as much clean fluid as you can, so there's no sense in flushing the dirty fluid through. If we can get some out of that reservoir, we will, and we should be able to get at least some out. We'll put new in, and then we'll start pushing it down and out. Peek through the wheels, and the brake pads look new from what I can see. When I get it up in the air, I'll look a little closer. I really don't think we have a brake pad wear issue. I'm not sure why the fluid's low. I drove this thing probably about 10 miles first before I did anything, and the brakes feel fine, but the brake light would come on intermittently, and that's usually because the fluid's low. So what we'll do is go ahead, like I said, we're going to suck it out. And I'm going to use this pneumatic vacuum deal right here to suck the fluid out. If you don't have a system like this, they make hand pump ones like this where you just pump the top like a bicycle pump, and it creates a vacuum, and you can suck the brake fluid out like that. Or you can also, I mean, if you don't even want to buy that, which they're probably, I don't know, they used to be about 90 bucks. I think that one's about 150 or something like that. They're very handy, but if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can just go to the grocery store and get you a turkey baster. You just got the ball on the end and the little tube. You just stick it down in there and suck it right out. Suck up a little bit, put it in a waste container, and fill your reservoir back up. That would be, I've done it that way for years, actually. I still do it that way sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. But we have this handy, and we're gonna go ahead and suck this stuff out and start with some fresh fluid. Yeah, that's some chunky stuff coming out of that. Ooh, that's gross. Out in there. Where all that chunky stuff is. That's kind of a new one for me. I don't know if I've ever seen big chunks come out of a reservoir like that before. You probably couldn't see that on the video, but there's several big chunks, big black chunks came up the tube when I was evacuating that fluid. So that's not good. Hopefully, I'm gonna put some fluid in it. Hopefully none of that stuff floats to the top. If it does, I'll suck it out again, because I don't really want to try to push that stuff through the system. If it's all concentrated in the reservoir, which it should be, because the brake system seemed to work fine when I drove it, and we can concentrate on just sucking it out through the top. And then what we'll do is we'll open the brake bleeders up and give it a gravity bleed at first, see how much fluid will come out on its own. Sometimes you can just put fluid in the reservoir, open up your bleeders, and it'll push itself through. Some ABS systems won't allow that, and on these modern cars, so you have to use an evacuator to either suck it out from each bleeder at each caliper one at a time so you don't create any air, or you can use a push system which hooks up to the reservoir and pushes fluid through. I like those systems better, but sometimes you can't find ones that hook up properly to the master cylinders, and I don't remember if I have a setup that'll work with this master cylinder or not, but this evacuator will suck through. Sometimes when you suck from the calipers instead of pushing from the master cylinder, you can create an air pocket. I filled up the reservoir, and I'll show you. Just filling it back up, you can see that fluid's pretty dark looking, so it's mixed with whatever sediment's in there, and it's floated itself back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suck it out again. I'm not going to bore you with that, but I'm going to suck it out again, and I'm going to continue to do that until my fluid looks like it's clean when I fill it up. Hopefully I have enough brake fluid. I bought a big container, but hopefully I don't have to go back to the store, but it's looking like I might need to. So suck this down, refill it again. Excuse me, I got a head cold. And we will see if it looks nasty again when I fill it up. And this is without, I haven't pushed the brake pedal or anything. I'm just sucking the reservoir clean, filling it back up. I'm gonna do that over and over until it's clean inside of there without pushing anything into the lines and into the calipers, because I don't want to mix any nasty stuff down into there. Okay. All right, so I took a look at the brake pads, front and back. They all look brand new, so I don't see anything leaking other than this is kind of a rainy day, as you can see outside, and there's water in the driveway. So what we do have is fluid is just dripping water. We put the steering linkage on last time it was in. There's a video on that, and it's a big beefy kit. Took the death wobble out of the steering. So we're gonna start with the back calipers, and we're gonna go ahead and start pulling fluid out of there, and that should be it. Since we double flushed that reservoir up top, there's some stuff stuck to the walls in there that I'm just not gonna be able to get out unless I took the reservoir off and boiled it out or something. I don't think that's necessary. We will pull some fluid out through the calipers to try to get the fluid from the master cylinder to the calipers through the lines flushed out. So we'll have nice, good, clean fluid in there. And top our fluid off at our reservoir. We'll keep checking that. We'll do the back stuff, and we'll check it, probably top that off. We'll have to top it off, and then we'll do the fronts. And hopefully that'll be it, and we'll be able to go for a nice test drive and have a good solid pedal and be able to return this to the customer, which are friends of mine. So we'll move right along and get this thing flushed out. My first dealer job was working at a Volvo dealer, and I learned a lot working there. They do things they did things really specifically by the book. Everything very specific on things. But anyway, we did a lot of service work there too. So it was in the 90s, early 90s, and we did a lot of brake flushes. And that's where I learned how to do that procedure. We always started with the back right. It's usually the furthest brake line from the master cylinder, right? If your master cylinder's up on the left, your brake caliper for the back right is all the way on the right. It's usually the furthest away, unless your lines are routed some kind of weirdness or something. But anyway, so we usually start with this one. Take your dust cap off, find a proper wrench, crack that loose, see what comes out. I'm gonna let it hit a rag first and just see what it looks like, and then we'll pull some out with an evacuator, and then we'll close that up and move to this one. In this case, I'm using a line wrench. It's 11 millimeter. You don't have to use a line wrench. You can even put a socket on these. But if I have to open and close it with a hose on, I definitely, like to use a wrench like that. And a line wrench is better because it won't round the head as bad. We'll go ahead and crack that open. Let's see, there we go. We got some fluid dripping now. Just want to, when it hits that white rag, you can kind of get a good reading on how dirty your fluid is, It's a little dark. It's not too bad. These brakes they get a workout stopping these big tires, You got a 37, 12, 50, 17 on here. So you want to be careful with brake fluid. It does take paint off. It does make rubber soft sometimes in certain applications. So I just wanted to let it drip for a minute and see what it looked like. And I will go ahead and close her up and put the evacuator on it. So we try not to make too big of a mess here. All right, we've got our tube hooked up to the bleeder, and we just crack it open. I can see the fluid coming out, and it's going to go into my reservoir tank for the evacuator. I'm going to hook the air hose up, suck some fluid out of there, and until I feel that's sufficient, and I will do the other side. Then we'll top our reservoir back off. As long as we have a good brake pedal, we'll go for a test drive, make sure our light doesn't come back on, and that'll be it. That's it for this video. I didn't want to drag this one out. It's just a simple brake flush procedure. If you guys didn't know how to do that, now hopefully you do. If you got any more concerns on Jeeps or anything like that, hit us up in the comments. Go check out our playlists, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and thumbs up. Appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Peace.